going to assume that we're live. Testing, testing. Testing. Testing, testing. Testing. Testing, testing. All right, that's enough of that. So let's get everything kind of set up here. Went live a little early, as you can see. Try to get things set up and see if we can focus in a bit. Maybe that's too close to get a good focus. Welcome in, everyone. Cheryl, Chubby. I mean, we got a good focus on the bottom. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, your timer worked perfectly. I did go a little early because I want to actually have things set up properly here. Come on. Well, let's hope that works. Currently, I'm on the Wi-Fi. If this doesn't look good enough, let me know and I'll try switching over. Seems to be a bit fuzzy on my end. Actually, let's see if we can switch to the Wi-Fi cell data right now. Maybe that'll improve, maybe not. Ooh. Maybe not. That really looks pretty bad. But maybe it'll clear up enough. So while we wait a little bit for people to get here, this came on Tuesday. Agate Bay. Actually, not Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. This came Saturday, and I wasn't here to pick it up. So I had to walk down and sign for it. I will do an opening for it later and record that. And that is a couple of things I won during their last live stream. Hey, Allison. Yeah, the Kilauea volcano is currently erupting, and it's throwing up quite a good plume of lava at this point. And if you bail on this live to go watch that, I don't blame you. But hopefully you have a computer or a tablet and can open two tabs and watch both. And it looks like we got Cami is in here. Ryan made it. Welcome in. Hit the like, everybody. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I'm going to just put that message up there and pin it. And we can start on this. Okay, if you saw the teaser premiere video, I have 6 pieces. And this will be the first piece we're looking at. This is a Lightning Ridge rough opal. And this was a gift from Jeremy Bishop. Very generous man. Oh yeah, hit those hearts and celebratory bouquets and all of those emojis. This piece here is 3.15 carats. It is 12.2 by 9 by 6 millimeters. You can see that big old bit of sand right there. It's got a pretty flat bottom. And there's an issue with this divot in the side and this very tall peak here. I think what I'm going to do is a quick slice of that bit off the top, and then we'll get on with shaping it. It might actually lend itself more towards a drop shape, because I will have to take in this area a bit. And it's going to be a fairly thin stone, low domed. Hey Harold, welcome in. So now that we're officially past the start time, let's move this over just a tad. Try to keep that thing centered. Looks good. Let's start the water. And get on my mask. Not a proper mask, but it's still a mask. Kind of appropriate because it's a surgery mask. Or maybe an autopsy mask. Here goes nothing. And voila! Hey, that looks pretty nice. Got some decent color in there. Fish out that tiny little bit. Maybe I'll be able to turn that into something useful. Maybe not. So is the sound okay? Is the audio okay? How's the pixelation on the video? Hope everything is fine. I think that maybe I will start with the 325 grit sintered diamond burr, as I don't have a whole lot to scrape off of this thing. Well, that's good to hear. Thank you, Chubby. All right, let's get this going. 2 hours goes by pretty quickly, sadly. Hopefully this doesn't go too deeply in. It doesn't really seem like it does. So basically, we're just gonna. Hey, yeah, Fred. Okay, I gotta adjust the chat on the phone here. I'm using to watch chat. Welcome in, Fred. Basically, I'm just gonna go around the edges, kind of clean that up a bit. I will probably use this side as the face. As you can see, there's some potch in it. This will probably be a picture stone, but one never knows. Let me smooth up the back, or what might be the back. Maybe there'll be better color. Welcome in, Kyle. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I know I don't do lives very often. I'm going to try to figure out how to change that. I probably will have to move all of my cutting stuff into the laundry room to change that, because cutting in the kitchen isn't optimal. Okay, you can see a little bit of potch in the face and then those weird sandy lines. Not bad color though. Too bad it's not more like that end. But when the rocks are free, you can't complain. Hey, welcome in, Deep North. Welcome, Sir Roxalot. Everyone who's watching and not chatting, pretty much everyone in here has a YouTube channel. So seek them out. Give them some likes and subscribes. Keep this party going. Oops. Can tell by that lovely sound that I didn't have the bit secure enough. My fault. Doesn't work very well when it's not securely clamped. Welcome in, D-Tim. Yeah, I should probably have a mod. So now we come to the decision. Do I make this side with the bit of sand the main side? Or do I make the opposite side the main side? Or do I throw in the towel, grab a hammer, and smash it? Let's take a vote. Welcome in, collapsitalism. Yeah, we are a pretty well-behaved bunch for the most part. Double-sided, says D. Tim. And honestly, that's not a bad choice. That actually puts a little more pressure on me. So, do I do a drop or I don't know. I could scrape that off. Not something I'm keen on doing, but a drop will eliminate some of that anyway. Could do a decent cushion cut. Freeform, yeah, I do like the freeforms. I could never what, Kyle? Smash this with a hammer? If someone decided to pay me, I could do it. Well, I always think the Opal is saying maximize carat weight. Which would mean that it would have to become freeform. Not sure how many people got to see Black Opal Direct yesterday, but he cut like $30,000 worth of gems. Today, you might see $30 worth of gems. But I try. Hi, Kelly. Welcome in, Addie. right, we have some basic shaping taking form. Maybe that grayish potch will come out if I go a little further. That back isn't looking too great, honestly. So you can see from the side, the gray stuff protrudes pretty far into the stone, so it just may not come out. Well, I think we've done enough on this one at this grit. So I'm going to look at the next stone in the lot. And this little piece is 5.3 carats. Sorry, 5.75 carats. It is also from Lightning Ridge. And it is 14.5 by 11.5 by 6.9 millimeters. And you can see it's kind of dark. It's a little patchy with the darkness, but there's a nice purple. It does have a lot of sand on this side, tons of sand on this edge and on this face. And all of that sand must go. So my idea is, since we're so flat here, this will probably be the bottom. And then this is already lending itself a bit to a dome. Doesn't want to focus because of that dripping water. Austin, yeah, I hope it's not your truck. Thanks, Collapsitalism. I appreciate that. I'm going to switch to the 100 grit for this one because we have a little bit more work to get done. What do I do with the opals after? They go in a drawer. They're part of my precious. Eventually I will sell some, I'm sure. I've given away a couple. The next giveaway comes up really soon. I'm so close to 1,000 subs. I'll have to get a storefront made up. Not sure who I would use for that. Maybe I could just sell them on the street corner. And do the World of Rockhounds way and just go to schools. I appreciate that, Collapsitalism. I really do. Because I know there's a lot of options when it comes to web markets. And I know nothing about any of them. Hi, Jeff. Yeah, you're right. It's not hoarding if it's opals. It's building a nest egg. I'm far from a dragon yet. All right, Jeff, you did miss the first opal. We just shaped, roughly shaped. Never mind that bit of thread. We're thinking about a double-sided on this one. Not quite sure yet. A little bit of sand left to remove there and on this side. But that was Lightning Ridge, and this piece is also Lightning Ridge. All right, that sand is out. I'm still a little slow at this, figuring out how I want to shape them after I get them cleaned up. Oh, thanks. I just cut these today. A little uneven, but I also avoided doing any gardening. Yeah, when you're dealing with opals, especially when they have thin color bars, you really do have to go slow. And in fact, many times it's best to bump down to the next higher grit to go even slower. I think everyone that's cut opals has had the horror story of their color bars disappearing. Nice thing about these is they are free, so I don't have to worry about messing up and losing any profit. But it is still good practice to try to produce the best possible stone. I don't know if anybody got to see Big Tech's Lapidary's live stream yesterday, but he cut a killer opal. That one's still got a lot of nice purple in it. Ooh, you can see it reflecting off my finger. Yeah, okay, pay attention to the stone, not the finger. Hey, Betty, welcome in. Hit the like. Amusingly, I did have a pet rock at one time. I think it was the late 70s. But I wasn't really too interested in rocks. I did collect a few. But I had been watching Black Opal Direct for quite a while. And then sometime in late 2019, early 2020, I decided that I could probably learn how to do this because Justin is a great teacher. He shows you how to do things. He explains the process. He's not afraid to share. Now I get to decide how much of this I want to save on the dome. I mean, if I go for a big stone, it's going to be pretty thin dome, but if I take off some of this area, I can probably get a pretty decent oval that'll be a reasonable height. Don't you just love that blue-purple? That's way brighter on the camera, by the way. Anyhow, I started learning, and then I figured, you know what? I've always wanted to do a YouTube channel just to show people that you can cut opals too, and it's not terribly expensive. So I had to pick a channel name, and I went with That Opal Guy. Here's how I imagined it. Two people sitting on a couch deciding what they want to watch. And one of them goes, well, let's watch That Opal Guy. And the other one says, That Opal Guy? And the first guy goes, no, That Opal Guy. And the second guy goes, oh, what's on the sports ball? Bump. Whoops. Oh my. Oh, Chubby. If you haven't checked out Chubby's channel, he does a lot of great shorts. Recently, he just put out ones involving the log hooker that he uses to move logs in his yard. Quite the useful tool. Yeah, OG works, TOG works. Wait, is Rick here? Hi, Rick. Welcome in. So, for just eyeballing, that's a pretty decent rough oval, if I don't say so myself. Still gonna bring a lot in off that top though, so what do you think? Leave it this way or bring it in a little more? Yeah, well, maybe I just go for maximum size. Yeah, well, see, size matters when it comes to gemstones. So you really do need to make them bigger. Sadly, when it comes to gems, rubbing them always makes them smaller. So, womp womp. All right, this bit is the 100 grit. I do have an 80, but I don't think any of these opals are going to be to the point where I need an 80 grit. Right. Oops! Off she flies. Luckily, it landed in an easily accessible area, and I don't have to pause to go searching. Actually, it is the size of the gem. Don't let anybody tell you differently. It's a shame that it came down on this side so much. It's going to be really flat. Oh well, I picked it. I gotta run with it. I mean, I could always cut it into there. Well, hi Lee, how's it going? To Decisions, decisions. I could still run with a drop shape. Many times I do have a plan for the shape. Kind of depends on the stone and if I want to try to remain having a higher dome on it. This one, this one really, I don't know. See, if I wasn't live, I would just set this aside and go look at it really close and hem and haw over it. So am I fine with cutting down the height? Possibly losing that purple color there. Or do I bring it in for a smaller, higher domed stone? Punt. We're gonna punt. And I will be putting it down because I don't want to rush it. So let's start stone number 3 since we're 40 minutes into this. Now this piece, get it in frame. This is from Coober Pedy, and it's nice and sandy on both sides. It is 8.2 carats, and it's 20.6 by 12 by 5.6 millimeters. And it's a pretty nice one because this top part has some beautiful color in it, but it also has this beautifully thick sand right under it. So this sand wedges down into the stone, so I don't think leaving that is a good idea. But there is enough color bar, and even though it's angled, maybe I can make something good out of that. I mean, look at that. Tell you what, I was gonna cut that sand off, but let's clean up the top here first. Yeah, maybe I'll flex some of my talent here eventually. I mean, I got talent as a smartass. Does that count? So this bottom part does not seem to have any color on this side. Tiny flash of green over on this end, but I think it's all coming from the main bar. Well, Jeff, I actually can do both of those simultaneously. You've seen me chat, right? Well, that looks pretty good. Again, the way this wedges really disturbs me. This part is going to be way too thin, so that's probably going to come off, but that should leave a fairly good piece. Yeah, I was impressed with that log rolling tool, Chubby. It's amazing how leverage works. Before this live started, I was watching the latest Dan Hurd video, and he found this huge rock of the ocean picture stone, and he took it to a company that slabs marble, and they used this giant, basically it's a rope saw. It was impressive. Very beautiful looking stone too when they slabbed it. Okay, we have taken some of that top off, and you can see there's still a bunch of potch in there, but the color is starting to come through. Whether or not these little bits come out or not remains to be seen. Let's see if I have a kind of a pointer here. Okay, so you see this bit and that bit, all these tiny little whitish beige ugly things, but the bar has some depth, so a little more taken out, maybe they'll come out. Just want to make sure we don't lose all that beautiful red orange color. But I have decided that I'm going to get rid of that bottom piece so I can work on maybe another double-sided stone. We'll find out here in a bit. I just want to make sure I'm cutting only the necessary bit off. Oh, that sand is so easy to cut. Whoops. Again, tighten it up. Doesn't work if it's slipping. Normally finger tightening works. Not today. How not to cut opal in 3, 2, 1. Now you can see down there, that sand pretty much disappears. Come on, not quite. Yay! Well, that's all trash. Ooh, okay, so you can see there's a little tiny bit of red here, maybe, right on that tip. Unfortunately, that's all sandy right there, so that's no good. That's got to come off. Bye-bye, bits. So that looks kind of ugly, but you know what? That's going to help me a lot because now I can just shave off that bit. And I know I'm probably missing a ton of questions, but I just usually hand tightening this is enough, but pressing harder on the rough causes it to loosen up. I just don't want to strip those threads. This is a very old Dremel. Well, you see, that candy color is the opal. That's where all the silica spheres concentrated and organized in a manner that will refract the light, making beautiful, beautiful color bars. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Akira. Welcome in. Yeah, Ryan knows what's going on. Opal is actually found in probably most of the world. It's all just common. Nothing wrong with common opal. In fact, I have some dendritic opalite, and that's in the next video. And that was given to me also by Jeremy Bishop. Man, that stuff is pretty, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, Bobby. Oh man, now I want a burger too. Don't talk about food. I did eat before this live. Alright, so we got some color coming through on this side. Still a bit of potch blocking this end. Lots of sand left on that side, but hey, that looks pretty. Pause one moment while I empty this. See you later, Rick. You know what? 100 grit's just way too harsh now that I'm at the color. Probably should have stopped that a little earlier. We'll bump it to the 600 right now. Hey, don't be dissing Jerry now. That's my job. Alright, so starting to get more color coming through. Those bars look pretty nice in there. Sand still comes up pretty far here, so that probably all has to come out, sadly. Unless I want to leave it and just make the back as is. Slowly but surely. And yes, don't call me Shirley. The problem is, it's 3 millimeters, which is plenty thick. The problem is it gets pretty narrow down here, and that still may be okay, assuming I don't take any more of the back off. That's so pretty, though. I can still come down a little bit more. All this whitish stuff should clean up a little bit. That color bar is so thin right there. And I will probably end up losing that red. This red down here will come in better, so, I might end up slicing. We'll see. At this point, I think the sintered diamond bits have done all their work. And there's still a bit of undulation in the bottom here. Maybe I'll try to get that a little more even first. A little better. Not perfect, but so pretty. If it wasn't for all that wretched sand. Still, this stuff on the top could still come out. Maybe, possibly. All right, that's a good pre-shape for now. Let's take a small break. I'll show you one of the opals I finished from the 5th live. This is a carving, and while I couldn't get all the sand out, I got quite a bit of it out. It's a little directional, but it's got some nice bright green and yellow. It's a fairly dark base, and very translucent. Aw, my batteries died. But yeah. It's a pretty stone. It was fun. There's still a couple of roughish areas, particularly up near this sand pit. But I enjoyed that one. Here is one of the blue ones. Beautiful little triangle. Stop focusing on that drop. It's got some greenish coming in on the side. And honestly, I probably should have cut it from this side. But it's a very nice stone. Not sure what that's worth. It's probably going to end up in a giveaway. And then the last of the opals I did, this wonderful cushion cut, very long. It's the bread loaf opal. Let's get that a little bit off. And still got that little side eye in there. But it's got great greenish and blue. And it's also a dark opal. Lovely polish, beautiful high dome. Pretty good stone in my opinion. Again, probably not worth more than $10, maybe 20 tops. And here's the Morado opal that I cut. And I went with the kind of natural triangular shape that it was, because this stuff was hard to cut. It's unbelievable how much harder this is. Originally I was going to do a symmetric peak, but it's a little asymmetrical and I'm okay with that. I did not do any cerium on it because A, I didn't want to get this beautiful little Vogue dirty. And I don't have an ultrasonic cleaner to clean this out. But I did take this to the 50,000 Nova burr. And I think it looks pretty good just like this. How expensive can opals get? Well, black opals can easily approach $10,000 a carat. In fact, one of the opals Justin cut yesterday, well, he was estimating probably $3,000 to $4,000 a carat for that black opal. And it was going to be around 5 carats, 4.5 or 5. So, yeah, they can be pretty expensive. It depends on several factors. One is the body tone. The blacker they are, the more expensive they are. And also, the brighter the color is, the more expensive they are. And it also depends on what colors they have. Red and blue on black are the rarest. And then certain patterns warrant more money. Like Harlequin pattern is probably the most expensive for the pattern and colors. All right, this is another Coober PD. This is 5.75 carats, 21.2 by 12 by 4.1 millimeters. And it's pretty sandy on both sides, but you can tell on this top part, which will likely be the top, you get a little bit of red and green, hints of yellow. On the side, you get much better color. Again, got this really sandy stuff right here. So this one probably was in the same vein of the previous stone. And sadly, because of that, that's making that color bar way too thin. I'm going to rub around the edges. Probably will slice this and work on this bit. Oh, look at that red. Boing. Beautiful reddish pink. Oh yeah. Pricing opal is tough though. I am not well versed in the pricing simply because I've never sold any. Black opals are expensive because they're some of the most rare opals. And all of my opals are put away, and it would probably take more time than I care to try to find them. And you guys would chat, but I don't want to bore you. Oh, this be a sandy lot. Yeah, someone suggested that I do a video of my top 10 favorite opals I've cut. And that is a great idea. And the beautiful part of that is I don't have to actually do any more cutting. But I have an opal video that I had the opal finished for quite a while. I've just been really lazy at finishing the video. And it was a stone I teased a few months back It was one that Lapidary Dave was kind enough to give to me, and it turned out marvelously. Definitely in my top 3 favorites. All right, so we're back on the 100 grit. Just trying to lightly take the sand off. I don't want to be too aggressive. Now the question is, will enough of this inclusion come out and get a clean stone out of this? I would hope so. I mean, down underneath, it looks like it's at least clean on the sides. This color bar doesn't go very deep, so I don't want to get too carried away. Looks like the sand stops somewhere around there. And right about there. So slicing this here is probably my best bet. So who votes for slicing? It doesn't really seem like there's anything. I mean, there's a thin bit here, but again, that's probably not enough to warrant chasing. Yeah, Jeff, when I was looking at this, it's a shell, or yeah, probably more a shell than anything. I do have the next piece is probably fossilized wood, and that's from White Cliffs. But I'm not the expert. I do know that opal shells often produce very, very good crystal color. Hi, Lady Diane. And you're saying cut. Does that mean stop filming? Are you speaking in a directorial capacity or in the slasher film capacity? Because if it's the slasher film capacity, I tend to agree. Because number one, I want to save the burr life, and using the saw, which is about the same cost as these burrs, but I mean, they're easier to replace. I do have a spare. And extending the life of the burr is a good idea. Oh, wait, who came in? Heather. Hey, Heather, welcome in. And hello, Tyler. Thanks for coming in. Just in time to watch me cut the end off of this 4th stone. Nasty, nasty sand. But without sand, you don't have opal. Wow, this is cutting quickly. It's a bad sign, or maybe a good sign that I made the right decision. All right, you're going to see it with me first. Oh, I got pretty close. Oh, look at that. I think I guessed fairly well. Okay, that piece gets yeeted. Let's pull a Dr. Phil here. Get that water over. Sadly, Phil has not been doing a lot of cutting lately. He's been dealing with some other things going on. See, that's pretty effective. His saw blade's a little bit larger in diameter and a little different type, but you know, you can cut opal that way. Look, we got that red just starting to show up. Awesome. All right, so we don't really need the 100 grit at this point. Let's do a little with the 325 just to see what we can coax out of it. Won't spend too long on it. Cooper PD has matrix that can be treated like Andamuka. I don't know if I've seen any matrix from Cooper PD. I do have a couple of pieces of Andamuka matrix. One I bought from Lapidary Dave, and it's awesome. But I feel like I'm going to need to seal it up to treat it before I try polishing it. And I definitely don't want to take too much off because treating the matrix typically only goes in about 1 millimeter or so. So if you cut a lot off, you have to retreat it. Hey, you know what, Collapsitalism? Celestial Reach might be the person to talk to about an earring. Go watch his channel. He makes jewelry. He uses opals and sapphires, and actually he just mined a bunch of Montana sapphire. Some really interesting stuff. And maybe if I had more money and time, I'd learn how to do some jewelry making myself. But I'm too busy trying to perfect this part of it. Tyler makes some really cool jewelry too. And I say support all of the local jewelers and stoners that you can. People like to talk about buying US made. It's like, well, go do it. There we go. Starting to come through very nicely. Probably should switch over to the 600 grit, because that might disappear pretty quickly. I think, gee, for the question about Cooper-Pedy matrix, maybe Phil at the Opal Mills might have a better idea, since Don Pulitzer doesn't make videos anymore. He treated lots of opal, but I believe it was mostly Andamuka. This one I might hold off on and continue off stream. Wow, look at that. I don't know about that. It might not clean up, which would be kind of a shame. And I can't find my loop now. Silly me. Well, I could go get my bedroom loop. Bedroom loop. Don't read anything into that, guys. Yeah, Jeff, I think you're probably right calling this a shell. Look at all that beautiful red, man. Okay, we're going to stop with this one right now, just because I'm getting nervous. I don't want to mess that up. All right, fifth piece is White Cliff Opal, 2.85 carats. This is 13.1 by 10.2 by 4 millimeters. And it's pretty clear crystal. And you should be able to see all that sand in the bottom. Well, that sand ain't going nowhere. There's some stuff in the top that might come out. There's this little ledge right here. I think even removing all that, it should still be fairly thick. But I'll have a crystally cap on a sandy bottom. And maybe SpongeBob is hiding in there. But It's a picture stone. So clean up the sides. Work on the proper angle for setting edge. Hopefully there's no cracks in it. Well, my idea mainly would be to like somebody that's just starting out cutting. I mean, somebody that's just starting out making jewelry could get a source of cheap stones for practice. Because I don't think anything I have previously cut is worth more than probably $600 or $800. It's been a while. I think I need something wet. So I have some cherry Coke. Perfect. Also, someone mentioned candy earlier. I think it was collapsitalism. How do you like that cab? My son made that cab. It's a tasty blue raspberry chew. No, it's not CBD. All right. Here's where we have so far. You see that beautiful little shine in there? Well, you know, that's a fracture. So well, come with me and you'll be in a world of pure silication. Don't be jealous, Jerry. And don't sue me, whoever wrote Willy Wonka. Hey, Manny, how's it going? Hi, Janet. Yeah, I didn't sing more than 10 seconds, so YouTube can suck it. Well, sort of oval. Needs a bit more polishing. And look at all that sand. Look at those potch lines. Ugh. But it's all just practice. Whoops, hey. Well, maybe we're stuck at that speed. It's possessed, I tell you. Well, we had that bit of sand at the top. That's not good. Now this would be the point where I would dop this, because my fingers are not as dexterous as, say, Justin's. So I would just like more finer control when I'm working on the finishing of the dome. I mean, it's not a perfect stone. It looks pretty cool, though. It's going to have that sand in there, I think, which kind of sucks, but... maybe, maybe not. Pretty decent little shape, though, for the 10 minutes or so I stuck with it. And our last victim of the night is another white cliff opal. That is 1.75 carats. It's 10 by 7.2 by 5.3 millimeters. It's a cracky little beast like that last one. But it's a nice crystal with some very cool color. It's like those little rainbow streaks there of green and yellow. Some blue, a little bit of red. Now the cracks are not going to disappear. They might just be potch lines that were once cracks and filled in. But I really won't know until I start cutting it. This will be the top. This will be the bottom, since it's a little more flat. And it's either going to be a triangle or a drop. See you later, Rick. Have a good one. Oops. Before I get started, I'm going to fill up a little more water in the reservoir. Reservoir. What a great name. Oh, that was kind of loud. All right, we're going to drain this again. And we have been running an hour and 43 minutes. The phone is at 39% charge, so I mean, we can keep going. I planned on 2 hours. Woo, dirty, dirty. I guess it all depends on how bored people are. Never say never. For a long time, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do this either. And I'm decent. I'm not the best. It is fun to learn. And with Opal, there is just so much to learn. Yeah, Phil, how much did that Opal you cut weigh? 10 carats, holy crap. What do you think, Jeff? I was looking at that going, $400 a carat color, easy. Again, I know nothing about it, but might have to buy me some of that clawed Opal. At least you can grow a beard. Yeah, it's hard to tell on camera, but you know, 500's not out of the realm of the possibility with that one. You did a video of that one, didn't you, Jeff? Can't remember if I saw that. I mean, 250 a carat's not tough, especially if you get the right colors in there. Yeah, it's got some nice little color in it. Probably, oh, there it is. Not sure how much of that little orange and red glow is gonna come through. I'll try to keep a nice high dome on that. So those are shaping up nicely. Let's get rid of the center diamonds for now. I don't think I need any of those. Okay, we got the 280 grit Nova Burr, and I still haven't decided what I want to do with this. I do like the high dome. Gonna have to sacrifice quite a bit of that. Yeah. Darn it. Unless I want to go really spazzy and do a wonky dome, but that would look ugly. That just wouldn't work right. That stone needs therapy. Before we move on, however, if anybody has any input, I mean, I could shave a little off and try to maybe go for a drop shape. Oh, I just saw Sir Roxalot's video short pop up for a tribute to Miss Dolly Parton. Sad news if you're a fan. I did enjoy her music. All right, we have 2.85 carats. This started out as 3.15. So I haven't lost much yet. And we are looking at touch over 11. 11.2 by 8.5 by 5 millimeters. That's not bad. Could get much smaller though. All right, this second one started at 5.75. Oh no, wait. I got it mixed up. This was the second one that was 5.75. So, yeah, I've lost 3 carats on that. Oopsie. All right, that was the first one. And it now weighs 1.8. So we've lost 1.3 carats off that. And it's 11 by 6.2 by 3.1. Third stone started out at 8.2 and it got a nice slicing treatment. It is now 3.1. So we've lost well over half on that one. And we're talking, we'll call that 18 by 9.4 by right around 2.8. The next stone was 5.75 carats when it started. It is now 2.4. So we've lost almost 60% of that one. And we'll call that 12. Whoa, hello. By 8.2 by 3 millimeters. And the fifth stone was a 2.85 carat. It's now 1.6 carats. And that is 11.2 by 5.9 by just a little over 3 millimeters. Last stone, 1.75 carats to begin with. 1.2 carats now. Whoa, hey. Equipment failure. This is now 6.8. Actually, that's not the longest. 7.1 by 6.8 by 4.1 millimeters. Progressing nicely. Don't worry, this has happened many, many times in the past. Now you can watch me struggle. Yay! Crazy guy finished. Alright, so yeah, back to our cutting. Make sure we come back around to where we need to be. I think we all know what's going to last the longest there, Phil. Hate to say it, but I mean, at least she's not Joan Rivers. Luckily, I'm only live when my son is gone, so unless he's downloading something off of Steam, there shouldn't really be any computer activity. Of course, I have Sparklight, and they're pretty crappy. But where I live, the options are extremely limited. I do like that green starting to show up. The sand is coming out of the side pretty well. Just need to work on this top. Ooh, someone gave me a heart. Woohoo! So, in regards to monetization on YouTube, I did the math, and for every hour of every day, you only need 54 minutes of watch time. I mean, I guess it could be worse. They could have made it so you needed an hour and 20 minutes. So the only way to reach that, in my opinion, will be doing lives, since to get 8,000 hours just off subs, you're going to need many subs, or create content that's either rage bait or a really attractive person that people like to watch just because they're attractive. I am neither young nor attractive. And Opal content, as good as it is not rage bait. So I'm screwed unless we can go fund me a bunch of plastic surgery. Okay, if I put this on a dop stick, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get that sand out no problem. And it'll have a nice dome, and most of that should come out. Most of it. Might all come out, actually. I'm a natural on camera, even though you will probably never see me on camera. But I guess I do have that face for radio, you know? Sorry, voice for radio. All right, I think that's good until I start dopping. Not sure I'm going to be able to get to dopping yet. We're approaching the, actually we're just over the 2-hour mark. And you know what? Yeah, I busted out the tunes. I'm actually pretty good at making up parody songs, but Weird Al has nothing to worry about. You know what? I think I'm going to wait. And I am going to bring that in some. Try to go for the higher domed, more drop shape. Not sure I really want to do that on the live. Getting the man treatment. Yeah, I don't know of any spas in this little town I'm in. It's not going to involve like slices of potatoes covering me. It's Idaho after all. You gotta get your taters and spuds. Get in that mashed potato bath. Yep. And French fried taters and mustard. So as you can tell, this burr I've used in the middle a lot, and that's kind of helpful when you're doming, but it's not a very good use of the burr. So I'll be trying to cut on the ends just to help wear that back down. But as I've said before, this is the original barrel burr that I've used since I started, and it's pretty much every stone I've ever cut has touched this burr. Look at me, I'm doing this on the live. I lied. Alright, I think I've misplaced the burr here. I'll have to find it later, but again, comparison wise, here's the 600 grit bullet burrs, and the one on the left is the newer one, of course, and there's the original 280 bullet burr. Getting mighty thin. I'll have to scare up that other one. I don't know where it went. That's a little troubling. It's somewhere on this table. So I could have gotten a large... Oh, hey, don't dump the water, you silly guy. That's not good. Okay. I could have gotten a bigger stone, but having to take down the dome so much, it probably would end up weighing just as much as taking this in and then going for the higher dome. What's amazing, Phil? Me spilling this water everywhere? Yeah, I'm having fun, I won't lie. Yeah, this is a Samsung S24 Plus. And this is far better than the first live. Was a bit nervous that first time. And I'm not gonna lie, everybody loves attention. Oh, hey. There's the second bullet burr. It was under my arm. Ha ha. Dough. I just wanted to keep this blue at the top. And, you know, it probably goes a little deeper, but who knows. And still, I think I need to bring it in a little bit more here. Not like I have to worry about losing any investment. Again, I want to thank Jeremy Bishop for all of his wonderful generosity. And you can find him hanging out on the World of Rockhounds live sales as well as Lapidary Dave. A very, very generous man. Hey, Resist, what's up? A little late to the party, but it's not too late. Moloch. Yeah, well, if you've got a hotline to Moloch, please tell him to send more Opal. Actually, he doesn't have to. I have plenty of Opal. I have some very nice ones to cut. I just really want more practice before I start smashing out the better ones. Not sure how many of those I will want to do on a live. Oh God, thank God I'm not forced to entertain you. I would probably be breaking down into tears eventually. Or you'd be breaking down into tears, one of the two. Ooh, so a little divot at the top. I mean, ultimately, I'd probably keep the dome slightly higher towards the center, but that sand does need to come out, so you know what? I mean, that's slightly drop shaped. It's still tending more towards an oval, and that's fine. It's a good thing I don't have to dance here, because then I'd really be in trouble. Actually, and this is going to take me just a few seconds, so I have a special, let's see if I can get this to work right. I don't know if this will be exceptionally visible, but hey, oh yeah, it is. That little guy I got from Kyle at World of Rockhounds, and the duck, I don't know where I found that. I think it was outside somewhere in the garden. All right, got the hands dry because this one is Wello, and it will be one of the next ones I cut. But it is beautiful. So, you know, that's what you could be seeing being cut. But no. Not today. That's precious is for another time. Oh well, hi Jerry. I wish I had a cabbing machine, but a lot of these I could not ever do with a cabbing machine. How's it going, Jerry? Actually, yeah, I probably would sell that one. And being that it's Wello opal, it would be cheaper than what an Australian opal would be. I haven't determined if it's hydrophane yet. I think it probably is. And that means it's going to absorb water when it gets wet. So if you bought it, you wouldn't want to wear it anywhere like doing dishes or out in the rain. This one's coming out pretty good. Still got a bit of that crud in there, and I don't have to point that out, but sand, tiny bits, little line of potch there. Hopefully that's not a crack. Still got amount of color bar left. And it's too bad it doesn't all face like that. Bottom, pretty as well. Given the thickness, I will probably take a slight bit more down on the bottom. Probably up near here just to kind of make the thickness more even. Wow. See, I can look at this all day long. And that's going to be fantastic under the microscope once I get the lighting right. Wow, well, I hope that jewelry cab made it through all the drops. So I've consistently kept around 14 or 15 people here. And that's pretty good, I think, considering how few subs I have. Slowly but surely. Don't call me Shirley. The more I go, I really now start to wonder about this area here. I have a little bit more in the center here that can come out. I'm not sure how much that's going to improve. I mean, you can see slight improvements every time. And I think I might want to get a better look at this under magnification. And definitely probably going to stop with the 280, at least on that face. This might be the case where maybe I should have cut it from this side to make this the face. But you know, have that sand goes in pretty deep there, so sometimes it's a gamble. And now this one, you can see all of that little stuff in there. Does it come out before the color goes away? I hope not. That's some gorgeous red sitting in there. And that center part looks pretty thick and clean. So it basically comes down to, do I have the nerve to go down far enough? Yeah, Phil, I think I got to agree. I mean, given how that stone was structured, you just sometimes got to make that call early, and a few times it doesn't work out. But I think I'm still going to get a pretty decent stone out of that one. Whoops. Hey, Age, how's it going? I watched your tomato sauce canning video. A little jealous. My garden kind of pooped this year. Slow and steady wins the Opal race. Slow and steady. To be fair, even if this doesn't clean up well, it's still going to be a great little stone. Nice pinfire, little broad flash. And it cost me nothing. Yeah, it was a very dry and warm spring here, and I'm not really an expert gardener, so I know I screwed up some things. I need to do a little more prepping this fall for next spring. Throw a bunch more fertilizer and stuff in the ground. I may be losing some of that red. And I also think this gray potch bar here coming down this side goes in deeper than I care. Not that I control any of that. But, I mean, it's kind of nice flash when it hits. All right, I'm going to have to take a look at that one. Give it a rest. Well, for eyeballing that one, I call that a win. It's more of a bean shape. Allergies do suck. I'm glad that I don't have any. I might share Jerry's allergy. Well, maybe not as triangular drop shaped as I'd hoped, but coming out pretty well. Put it on a dop stick, get the girdle a little better, finish up the dome. It's more directional from the side at the moment. Maybe when I clean it up more, we'll find more color coming through the top, because it's still a little bit white up here. But I do like that color. And I do like that it was free. I can't say enough about free stones. But honestly, people have sent me so much free stuff that I think I'm good for a while. I mean, I hate refusing gifts, but let's get them wet again. They look so much better wet, right? Let's take off this hot mask. So, I mean, 6 in 3 hours, yeah, they're not finished, but I think I did pretty well. I think my favorite are the 2 Coober PD. Not gonna diss Lightning Ridge. Lightning Ridge are amazing. But I think the white opals went out this time. This one is still probably going to end up being double-sided. And this one probably not. I want it to stay thick. All right, well, we're coming up on 3 hours. That's probably enough suffering to put you folks through. I do appreciate you coming here, providing support, hitting the like, giving me some feckless watch hours since I don't even have 1,000 subs yet, but it takes time. Definitely takes time. And for you latecomers, we will look at the finished stones of the last live session. And my battery power is now at 15%, so even my phone is telling me it's probably time to quit. This carved one came out really well, I think. Yeah, still sand in it, but what can you do? No sand, no opals. Some beautiful little dark blue and slightly green. A little bit of crud still on the top, but it was going to ruin the shape if I took that down any further. Still, you could put that in a little ring, right? Whoops. As I lose it. And then probably my favorite is the breadloaf side eye. Beautiful blue, some nice green. Pretty even. Then the Murata opal, which when I started cutting this, I really thought I was never going to cut any more because it's tough to cut. But hey, it turned out really nice. And while this isn't the most purpley stuff you can buy, it's still pretty cool. And I kept the Vogue. Crystally Vogue. So beautiful. All right. Well, I appreciate you all. And class is dismissed. You can all go to lunch or dinner or wherever you congregate. And eventually I will have another live. Right now they're a little hard to plan, but hopefully I'll be doing more in the future. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Mr. Chubby Hubby and everyone else. Oh man, take care of that back, Cheryl. Back pain sucks. Sucks really badly. Let's see, I think we'll pick this one to end on. All right, see y'all later.